Kama Sutra for the Modern World.
Looked at a book, read a lot of a book, and it was about this thick, and it was the history of sex. And so, sex is um, very a staple of our civilization and of our species. Without it, we wouldn't have a species. So, the Kama Sutra was put together as writings of different men millennials ago, and then in the fourth century, a man started putting it together. There's very little is known about him. We're not going to center on him, but he put it together in such a grand way that it lasted for thousands of years more. Then in the 1800s, a man named Richard Burton, not the actor, but a man named Richard Burton, Sir Richard Burton, I think, he started translating them into our languages. He was a linguist. He was actually quite brilliant, and he was fixated with different kinds of sex, and so was his wife. There's a long history there of how he had to have a secret society because things were so bizarrely close to sex. Part of that comes back to the Crusades. So when the Crusades were going through, the Catholic Crusades, they would experience elegance and sex and the way that the country of India was putting together lifestyles. And so the lifestyles included sex. Now, what I find missing today is that men today don't think of great sex as part of a great man. They think of riches sometimes, and they're not necessarily good at sex. So India at that point were very liberal in the 4th century, and they were experimenting with sex, and this book helped them. However, they also had a philosophy that if you're going to be successful as a man, you have to be able to do great sex with someone, and you need to also. That's when riches and other things come in, and I'll talk about that philosophy in a couple of minutes. But I find that that's what's missing today. Too many males are just, even into their 30s, they're just like oriented with the fake reality of video games, and so they're lacking any skill when it comes to women or sex. And so this is where a book like the Kama Sutra can help, at least in its philosophies. There's 3 different sections of the philosophy. The first one was Dharma, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And the other one is Arthra. I don't really want to spend too much time. It was the obligation of men to accumulate wealth for supporting their family. And then the last one is Kama, which is the way to sensual pleasures.